Getting your low and mid-range price products right is crucial to the success of your sales funnel. Now, your low-priced product is the first paid-for offer that you're going to send to your list. So you want to make sure that it has lots of quality and offers outstanding value for money, because that is going to set the tone for what people can expect from you as they go further down the line. So you want to use this to build up people's confidence in you, in your abilities, in the quality of your offer. Now, an ebook is the most popular choice at this level, but you could have software or an app. I guess it all depends on what your niche is and what your abilities are. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume that you're going to be selling an ebook at this stage because that is the most popular choice. And if you go for an ebook, it should be well researched and well written. And you can draw on lots of different sources for this. You can use your own experiences, and that's probably the best way because you can write from a first-hand experience and you can have information that people are not going to get anywhere else. You can draw on forum postings that are in niche forums. And likewise, you can also look at sites like Yahoo Answers. And you can write this book yourself, or you can hire a ghostwriter to write the book for you. The ebook should be a reasonable length. Now, by reasonable, I mean 20 pages of A4 or letter size, that sort of thing. Now, really over-deliver on this. The idea is that you use this to showcase how good the rest of your products are. And you want people to be pleasantly surprised at the quality of your information. So you want people to think, wow, this is really good. So that when you start sending them information about higher priced and more expensive products, they're going to think, gosh, if they can do this for such a low price, how much better is it going to be if I pay a bit more? That sort of thing. That's the sort of message that you want to send, albeit on a very subtle way. And you want to price it competitively so that people aren't put off by it being too cheap. But you also want to make sure that it's low enough so that buying it is a no-brainer for your customers. You know, sometimes if your price is too low, people will think, oh, it's going to be rubbish, I won't bother. But a high price can also put people off. So if you sell it for something like, $9.95 or something similar, then that's a pretty good price because most people don't think too much about spending $10 or under $10 on a product. Now, you're not looking to make much of a profit here, just enough to cover your expenses and break even. Profit is going to come further down the sales funnel. Now, let's just take a look at some resources that you can use for creating your ebook. If you're going to write your ebook yourself, then some good software to get is either OpenOffice from openoffice.org or LibreOffice from libreoffice.org. These are software packages, office suites basically, that are similar to Microsoft Office, but they are free and open source, and they will run on Windows, Mac, and Linux. And they also have the advantage of being able to create a PDF straight from within the software. If you want to outsource the creation of your ebook, then a good site to look on is Freelancer, which you'll find here at freelancer.com. And at freelancer.com, you basically put your job out to tender and people bid to work on it. If your typing speed isn't particularly quick, then you might also want to look at getting Dragon Naturally Speaking, which is a voice-to-text software. It is actually quite expensive, but it's well worth getting because I'm sure, like most people, you can probably speak faster than you can type. And you can find out more at nuance.co.uk/dragon/index.htm. And the next step along is your mid-range item. This is an item that's going to be slightly more expensive than your lower priced item. And you can actually use this as an upsell from your lower priced product. You see, once people are in a buying frame of mind and have made one purchase, it's easier to get them to make another. And a good option is a video version of your ebook. This can contain the exact same information as your ebook, only in video form, or you can embellish it with additional information to add even more value. And if you're in the software niche, for example, you can write an instruction manual for a particular piece of software and then do a video demonstrating how it all works. Now, people will watch the video to see what to do, but they'll keep the ebook handy to refer to as they use the software, because you have to watch a video from the beginning to the end, but you can flip through a manual or scale through an ebook in order to find the bit of information that you want. So people can watch the video, see how it's done, and then when they try it and perhaps it doesn't work properly, they can go back to the manual to easily find the information that they want. And the two can work together that way. Now, your videos should have fairly low production values. Graphics and a voiceover, screen capture and a voiceover, or a combination of both. Now let's just look at some resources that you can use to make your videos. Some of these are free, some you have to pay for, but they're all ones that I've actually used personally. Some good resources for creating videos, especially graphics and voiceover videos, are OpenOffice, which is openoffice.org, and LibreOffice, which is libreoffice.org, like we were discussing earlier. And I actually use LibreOffice Impress to make the slides in this video. Or, of course, if you want the granddaddy of them all, you can get a subscription to Microsoft PowerPoint, which you can find out more about at products.office.com. To record the videos, probably the best screen capture software out there is Camtasia. Now, Camtasia will allow you to record from PowerPoint. It will allow you to record the screen if you're making a screen capture video. I'm using Camtasia to make this video. It's not particularly cheap, but there is a 30-day free trial at the time that I'm making this video, which means you have enough time to download the free trial version, and it's fully working and unrestricted, and make your video, put together your product, sell it, and make enough money to actually buy the full version of Camtasia. So it is actually quite a good deal that way. And you can find out more at techsmith.com/camtasia.html. Another good piece of software is Active Presenter. And Active Presenter is a bit like PowerPoint and Camtasia all rolled into one. And it comes with the editing software, which is what you really need to put the videos together and make them look good, which Camtasia comes with, but other screen capture software doesn't, but Active Presenter does. And there are free and paid for versions of Active Presenter. I've used the free version in the past, and it's perfectly adequate. And you can read more about it at atomisystems.com/Active Presenter. Of course, you can always outsource the making of your video to a professional, and you can find them on freelancer.com, like we were talking about earlier, or on the Warriors for Hire section of the Warrior Forum, and you can find that at warriorforum.com/warriors-hire. Now, with both your low and mid-range products, offer a guarantee to remove the risk from the customer. And the longer the better. Paradoxically, the longer the guarantee, the less likely you'll be asked for a refund. Now, you can also sell affiliate products at this level. Purchase the product yourself to make sure that it's good. After all, it's your reputation on the line with everything that you sell. And once someone has bought your low price product, you want to remove them from the prospects mailing list and add them to the customers list. And now you can start sending them information about higher priced offerings and begin moving them down your sales funnel to areas that are going to be much more profitable for you. When you reach the high priced product level of your sales funnel, this is where you start to make some serious money. The higher priced item comes down further down the sales funnel here, after your freebie, after your lower priced item, after your mid-range item. That's when you're going to start to sell your high priced item. And in a way, things start to get easier at this level because you have customers who know you and are starting to trust you. And if you've over-delivered on value with your low and mid-range products, then people will know what to expect. There are two types of products that are popular at this level: training courses and software or apps. Now let's look at training courses. When you have your training course, you want to have higher production values than your ebook and other videos. That means something like having a presenter talking to camera in the video part and music at the beginning and end of each video, 3D graphics, etc. Something that shows that you have actually spent some money in making this product. Now, your courses should be text and video based, and the text and the video should work together. So, for example, you could have video lessons with a workbook or a reference manual, and the whole thing ties together. Now, you can research and create these courses yourself, or you can rework PLR or public domain materials. So you can do all that yourself, or you can outsource it to a professional. Now, when it comes to delivering your courses, you do have a couple of options. And the first way to deliver them is digitally, and that means from a site on the internet. Now, when you do it this way, the overheads are much lower. And of course, when you do it digitally, you can update the materials much more easily. The other way of distributing your courses is to distribute it physically. And physical products have a higher perceived value than digital products. People think that because they've actually got something that they can physically hold in their hands, it's worth more than just something that they see on their computer screen, even though it contains the exact same amount of information. So correspondingly, you can charge more. If you're going to distribute your course digitally, then a good platform to put it on is Moodle. Moodle is actually used by a large number of colleges and universities throughout the world for distributing courses. So it is actually very highly recommended. And it's free and open source, and you can read more about it at moodle.org. You'll probably need to have quite a lot of storage space to store the videos and the digital documents on, which might overdo the bandwidth that you might have for your web hosting account. So a good storage solution is Amazon S3. There are free and paid for versions of this, but the free version does let you have quite a lot of storage space. And you can read more about it at aws.amazon.com. You might also consider putting it on a third-party platform. And probably the best one out there is Lynda, which is lynda.com. And Lynda is actually owned by LinkedIn now. And there's all sorts of different courses out there that you can use. And you can actually start to drive traffic to your course via Lynda. It's actually quite a good deal. If you want to distribute your course physically, then a good company to use is Vervante. They will handle everything, all the printing, all the duplication of the CDs and DVDs, etc., and then send everything out in the mail. They're a US-based company, but they will distribute worldwide, and you can read more about them at vervante.com. Finally, there's Amazon CreateSpace, and this is great because not only will they print it on demand and duplicate it on demand, they'll also list it on Amazon.com so you can start to sell your courses that way outside of your sales funnel. So it is actually quite a good idea to sell via CreateSpace, and you can find out more at createspace.com. Now, the other popular product at this level are software and apps. Now, if you decide to do that, your software or your app should solve a specific need for the customer, and it should make the customer's life easier. But also, if you're going to develop a software or an app, you want to make sure that it's not something that's available free on the internet, because people are not going to buy your product if they can get it for nothing or download it for nothing off of another website. Now, there are a number of different ways that you can make the app. You can write the program yourself, or you can hire a coder to write it for you. So if you're not a coder yourself, then it's best to hire someone to do that for you. Now, the process is longer and more complicated than creating a training course, as you have to allow for beta testing, debugging, etc., etc. And digital delivery is the norm for software or an app. Now, let's just look at some software resources. If you're looking to outsource the coding of your software or your app, then a good place to hire a coder from is Rent-A-Coder, which you can find here at rent-acoder.com. And a good distribution platform for apps and software is CNET, and you can find out more at cnet.com. Regardless of whether you're going to do a training course or whether you're going to make software or an app, you want to survey your customers at this point to find out what they want. And it's best to do it at this stage in the sales funnel, as you can use this information to develop products at this level and also later on. Now, people on your prospect list may just be freebie seekers who are looking to get stuff for free. So they're not really the best sort of people to ask what they want, because their answer is going to be, well, something for nothing. So after you've actually got customers, people who've actually parted with money to buy one of your products, then that's the best time to do the survey and to ask them what they want. There's a couple of options when it comes to survey software. The first one is SurveyMonkey. Now, this is a hosted solution, and you can read more about it at surveymonkey.com, and there are free and paid-for versions. Another option is Lime Survey, and this is a free open-source solution that you host on your own server. And if your hosting package comes with Fantastico or Softalicious, you may be able to install this from within cPanel. Otherwise, you can download the software from limesurvey.org and install it manually. It's actually quite straightforward. At this stage in the funnel, there is a lot of confusion around sales funnels, and I want to help clarify that in this video. First of all, a question that lots of people ask is, why is it necessary to build a sales funnel in the first place? Surely, if you want to sell high-priced products, you just sell them, right? Wrong. Well, it's true that in the offline world, you can go ahead and sell expensive stuff right off the bat. For example, if you run a Bentley dealership, you wouldn't expect someone to buy a Toyota from you first and then trade up. But in the online world, things are different. Unfortunately, there is a tremendous lack of trust online. And it's not surprising. Some online traders are sadly less than honest. And online, it's easy to deceive. For example, your website might give people the impression that your business is a large operation run from slick offices in the heart of the city, when in reality, you're just some guy who lives in a down-market neighborhood and works out of his spare bedroom. But of course, your website might give a completely different impression. And to put it bluntly, most people you deal with online for the first time are going to assume that you're a crook until you've proved otherwise. And a sales funnel enables you to do this. With a sales funnel, you can establish that you're a real business, you provide quality goods or services, you deliver on time, and perhaps most importantly, that the customer is going to see value for money. And when people know and trust you, it's easier to make sales. And I've heard it said that people will want 5 points of contact with you before they'll really trust you. But when they do trust you, they'll know that you're not a crook, they'll know the quality of your goods and services, and they'll know that you know what you're talking about. And this is where a sales funnel comes in. You start by giving away something for free, you then sell them something inexpensive, then something more expensive, then something even more expensive, and so on, all the way along. And once someone has bought a cheap item from you and is happy with it, they're more likely to purchase a more expensive item from you. It's just human nature. Or to put it another way, it builds confidence and trust in you, trust in your business, and trust in your brand. How exactly do sales funnels work? Now, this is something that causes a lot of confusion. So let me just give you an overview in this video. Now, the principle behind a sales funnel is to build trust. Trust in you, trust in your products or services, trust in your ability to deliver on time, and perhaps most importantly, trust in your ability to provide value for money. Now let's just take a look at a typical sales funnel. You're going to start off at the top of the sales funnel with a freebie, a free giveaway to get people to sign up to your mailing list. Then you're going to sell them a lower priced item, then a mid-range item, then a high-priced item, a higher-priced item, and then finally a very expensive item or an expensive service. So as the people go down the sales funnel, they build more and more trust in you, they're more and more likely to move up to the next level, and you can sell them more and more expensive things, expensive items, expensive products, expensive services, that sort of thing. Now let's look at how this works in some detail. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume that you're in the internet marketing niche, but it's just for illustration so that I can give you some practical examples. In reality, what I'm going to tell you can and does work in every niche. And it works for goods or services, but it works best with a combination of both. Okay, let's look at the top of the funnel, your freebie. Now, your freebie is usually a free report or an ebook, and you use this as an incentive to get people to sign up for your mailing list. So people come to your website, they sign up, and they get this free ebook or this free report, and that's got them on your list and into your funnel. Now, it must be high quality, and this is something very important when you're first starting out and you want to make sure that everything that you provide is of the highest quality. So it must be high quality, and it should be something that you could command a good price for if it was sold. So it's something that has a high perceived value, something that's worth money, but you're giving it away for free. And it should contain useful information that your customer can start to use right away. Something else that you can also do with your free report is to include a clickable link to your website and giveaway rights to it. And that way, if people share it, then the report can also be a useful traffic generator, because people will see the free report you've given away, they'll see the link to your website in the back of it, and through curiosity, then they come and visit your site. So once you've got them signed up for the free report and you've got them on your mailing list, the first thing that you're going to offer them is a lower priced product. And it's usually an ebook, principally because you can deliver it digitally. Now, this lower priced product should contain a lot of information, and it should be a reasonable length. 20 pages of A4 or letter size is a good rule of thumb. Now, you want to really over-deliver on this, because the idea is that you use this to showcase how good the rest of your products are. So people buy your lower price product, they're completely blown away by how good the quality is, and so they go ahead and they buy something more expensive from you. So you want to keep the price fairly low, but not so cheap as to make people think that it's not likely to be any good. Because sometimes people will look at something and they'll think, oh, that's so cheap, it's got to be rubbish. But where in fact it is actually good quality. So you don't want to make it too cheap, but you don't want to make it too expensive either. And usually something like $9.95 or something similar is a good price for your low price product, because after all, under $10, people can not think twice about spending that sort of money. And also, you want to offer a money-back guarantee, so that if people do buy your low-price product and they don't like it, then they can get a refund from you. So there's no risk attached to it. Then you sell them your mid-range price product. And this is something that's slightly more expensive than your ebook. And it can actually be an upsell to your low price product. So once someone has bought your low price product, you immediately offer them this mid-range product right away, and offer them perhaps at a discount over what you would sell it if it were a standalone product. Because you see, once someone has bought something and they're in buying mode, they're much more likely to make an additional purchase. And a video version of your ebook is a popular choice at this level. Now, it should be low production values, just text and graphics with a voiceover. And you can use software like PowerPoint to make the slides and Camtasia to do the recording. And it can actually be the exact same stuff that's in your ebook, but just turned into a video. Now, after that, you're going to offer them a high-priced product. And this should be not immediately afterwards, but after a reasonable period of time. Because with your high-priced product, well, now you're really starting to make money. And courses and training products are popular at this stage. And these should be a combination of text and video. They should be well researched and well presented. And again, you want to over-deliver on all this. You want to make sure that there is really outstanding value for money. And these training courses should have higher production values than your ebook and your previous videos. And you also want to include plenty of bonuses to add even more value. Then the next stage in the sales funnel is the higher priced product. And again, this is a much higher price point than the previous items. And the thing is, you'll find that not so many people will purchase at this stage, but you'll be able to charge considerably more. So make a virtue of this by limiting availability to create scarcity and add more value. Telephone coaching is popular at this level, and this can be a group conference call or it can be individual coaching. And what you can do is you can record the calls and offer the recordings as a downsell. So you can record them in MP3 format and then sell that as another product as a slightly lower price to people who perhaps didn't want to spend the money on your high price product, or the people who perhaps couldn't afford it, but they can still get the benefits from that, but it's just simply not live and they're not actually talking to you, they're just listening to the recording. And then finally, you have your expensive product or service. And this is the end of your sales funnel. So you'll probably only sell one or two of these, but you can charge a premium price. And because this will likely be time intensive, you won't be able to offer this to too many customers anyway. Popular choices at this stage include mentoring, one-on-one coaching, and ongoing consultancy. Now, you have to bear in mind that people will drop out at every stage. It's called a sales funnel. I suppose a sales colander would be perhaps a better description, because a lot of people are going to only sign up for your freebie. A lot of people are going to buy just your lower priced items or your mid-range items. So you may find that you hit a plateau. You may find that nobody is going to buy your more expensive stuff. So you might find that you've got a good market just selling the lower and mid-range price items, which is fine. You know then that you can keep churning out these products, keep churning out these services for that particular market over and over again all day long. So your sales funnel will build, and as it goes along, you can put your prices up and start to make even more and more money. And basically, that's how a sales funnel works. You've now reached the expensive end of the funnel. Right down at the bottom here, people have downloaded your freebie, they've bought all your lower, mid-range, high and higher priced products or services, and now you've got a position where you can sell them something that's quite expensive. And most likely this is going to be a service at this stage, and one offered by you or perhaps by other people within your organization. And this can either be a one-off, or more profitably, it can be an ongoing service that you're going to offer on a continuous basis. And at this sort of level, the most popular offerings are one-on-one coaching or mentoring and consultancy. And coaching can be done either in person or over the phone, and you can offer email support too. And it's tailored specifically to the needs of the client. And it involves a lot of interactive two-way communication. So if you're in a business niche, then people can telephone you or email you and get your advice on things that they're doing in their business, and you can coach or mentor them all the way through the process. And if you're in the fitness or sports niche, this might mean offering your services as a personal trainer or as a coach to a professional athlete, that sort of thing. But you're going to charge a premium price because they're going to have your time exclusively for however long has been agreed. Now, if you're doing consulting, then you're generally going to be helping organizations to improve their performance rather than individuals. And what you'll do is you'll analyze the problems that the organization has, and you'll draw up plans for improvement. You'll then work closely with them to implement the plans, and you'll tweak the plans where necessary. Now, in either case, you might be paid on a per session basis, an ongoing basis, or you might be paid a retainer. The overheads are low, it's just your time, and clients are paying a premium price for access to you, the expert. But even though now you've got somebody at the bottom part of your funnel, or at least one person or company, you shouldn't neglect the rest of it. You still need to keep this going as an ongoing process. So you still need to be getting people into the top of your sales funnel and generating traffic. You still need to be giving away your freebie and updating it from time to time. You still need to be offering low and mid-priced products, your high-priced products, higher priced products. You need to keep this turning over all the time. It's an ongoing process, not just a one-off. So you do need to keep coming up with products, coming up with ideas, coming up with new services, etc. Which is why by the time that people actually get to the bottom of your sales funnel here, there aren't very many people who are going to be interested in this and who are going to be prepared to pay this much. But also, because you're very busy with all this other stuff, you're not going to have a lot of time to take on a lot of consulting clients or do a lot of coaching anyway. So the fact that you probably won't sell very many of these really expensive products or services is in some ways a blessing. But your whole sales funnel, as I said, is an ongoing process, and you just need to keep on the whole time through and keep bringing people in, keep it churning over. And I wish you every success. Now let's just take a look at a typical sales funnel. You're going to start off at the top of the sales funnel with a freebie, a free giveaway to get people to sign up to your mailing list. Then you're going to sell them a lower priced item, then a mid-range item, then a high-priced item, a higher priced item, and then finally a very expensive item or an expensive service. So as the people go down the sales funnel, they build more and more trust in you, they're more and more likely to move up to the next level, and you can sell them more and more expensive things, expensive items, expensive products, expensive services, that sort of thing. Okay, let's look at the top of the funnel, your freebie. Now, your freebie is usually a free report or an ebook, and you use this as an incentive to get people to sign up for your mailing list.